What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Fantasy Football 5 and 5, and in today's video, we are going to be looking at the top 5 waiver wire steals for you guys in fantasy football seasons. Alright, so coming into my number 1 tip for the fantasy football waiver wire is Tuesday and Wednesday. Alright, let me explain that. So the best time to look at the waiver wire is on either Tuesday or Wednesday. So on Tuesday and Wednesday, that means everybody on the fantasy season has played, and that is when you can go in and start claiming the players on the waiver wire. So you can't actually add them to your team, but you will be on the list of the waiver order to see whether or not you get those players, basically. So Tuesday and Wednesday, the players are added to your roster on Thursday morning. So if you do it Thursday morning, you're too late to do that. And if you do it before Tuesday morning, then you may not get the best waiver wire steals just because the Monday night game or games has not happened yet. Coming in at tip number 2, we have check for injuries. All right, this means 3 different things. So 1, check for injuries on your own team. So if some of your players have injuries and you need to fill that position, it's a good idea to maybe go to the waiver wire, get one of those players off there, add it to your roster so you can start him on your fantasy football team. The second thing injuries means is check for injuries on the waiver wire. Somebody coming back from an injury. So a lot of times that ESPN has them projected how many points they will have the next week. If a player is injured and he's really good, then he might not be projected really high the next week, but he might be projected high the week after that. So you can go in there and see players that are injured on the waiver wire and add them to your team, and they can help you out in the future because they might be really good. They might have just had a 1-week injury, and you can grab them for your fantasy team, and they might boost you to fantasy victory. The third thing this means is check for injuries on anyone's roster. So let's say, for example, the running back for the Seattle Seahawks, Chris Carson, gets injured. Now we need to go find someone that's going to step into his shoes, right? So Rashad Penny is going to take on his entire workload for that week. So if you can find Rashad Penny on your waiver wire, you can grab him, start him in that week. He might only be good for 1 week while Chris Carson is out, but while he is out, Rashad Penny will be that backup. He can get you a lot of fantasy points. So that not only applies just to the Seahawks, that can apply to every single fantasy football player. So if you can find someone that's injured, their backup is likely to be very good that fantasy football week. So if you need someone to start, then go look for the backups. That can be very good. All right, coming in at tip number 3, we have watch for breakouts. All right, so at least 1 per season, typically more. There are breakout players that are on the waiver wire that can come help your fantasy football season and boost you to fantasy victory. So if you can grab them off the waiver wire, that is exactly who you're looking for. You're looking for trends that people are consistently on the waiver wire doing really good. Now, watch out for people having 1 week that's really good. So let's say one person gets 20 points for 1 week and you're like, oh, I need to get him now. But you can go click on them and look at their past weeks and see how they have been performing. And if they have not been doing good, they're often not worth the ad. They just had that one really good week. That happens a lot in fantasy football. But if they have a history of doing good that fantasy season, they are good to add to your team, and they can help your fantasy football team and possibly become that star you're looking for to help push your fantasy team into the W column and take home that Super Bowl victory you guys have been looking for. All right, coming at tip number 4, we have pay attention to the waiver wire order and use it to your advantage. All right, so what this means is every single week there is a random waiver wire order of who gets to pick up players off the waiver wire first and down the list. So you can find that somewhere on your league, and that is a very important thing to look at. So let's say, for example, there are 2 really good players that are available on the waiver wire, but you are the 10th player on your waiver wire. So a lot of the people on the top are going to try to claim the best player out of those 2 to your league, but it might be a better idea for you to grab the second best player. So while they're all trying to grab the top with their waiver wire pick, you might be left with that second best player that no one else even thought to claim. So paying attention to this can be a vital key to winning your fantasy league. So just pay attention to the waiver order. It can make or break getting that player on your team that you need to push you to fantasy victory. All right, coming in at tip number 5, we have don't abuse the waiver wire. All right, so there are so many people that I know that will get on the waiver wire, and every single week, without fail, they will grab or drop someone to their fantasy team from the waiver wire. this is a huge mistake because the people you drafted, that's who you meant to be on your team. If you're constantly adding and dropping people, you're losing your team. You're slowly just dropping players. Just because they had a better week than your starter doesn't mean they're going to be better in the long run. I would say keep with your starters, even if, let's say, one of the really good players has a bad week and one of the waiver wire has a good week. You might grab him and drop him. That's a big mistake. Never do that. Only grab the waiver wire people if they're either having a great season, like a good overall season, or you absolutely need them on your fantasy team. Don't abuse the waiver wire. You can use it to your advantage, and it can help you win your fantasy season. Just don't take it to the extreme and start using the waiver wire every single week. But yeah, that's my top 5 waiver wire tips. Be sure to comment down below your top 5 waiver wire tips. I've got my top 5 playlist for my top 5 fantasy football videos right over there. So if you guys want to go check out some more videos just like this one, be sure to go over there. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.